His name is Pyotr Ufimtsev. He was a Russian mathematician who had this really abstract concept about how geographic planes would deflect radiomagnetic energy. And the Russians were so interested in what he had to say that they let him actually publish internationally, which is they didn't care at all, because at the time this was the height of the Cold War. And these American scientists happened upon Pyotr's research, and they run an experiment, and they put an object under radar, and lo and behold, it disappeared, which gives us a stealth fighter. The Russians had everything they needed in order to build it. They just couldn't see what was underneath their noses. Think about that. What ideas exist in your organization that you just can't see? And how do you draw that knowledge from the edge? Anybody recognize what's going on here? I show this to my undergrads. They're like, what is this? So there's a lens. There's some transistors. That's a cassette tape. This is the world's first digital camera. 1974. Do you know who it was invented by? Kodak. Kodak just files for bankruptcy, right? They were afraid of taking away from their film business. The third idea here, and the third takeaway, is that you need to recognize that the new generation is operationalizing play. What looks like little games that Pyotr is doing on that digital camera is actually really serious. And I want to talk to you for a second about Occupy Wall Street. It's easy to dismiss what they were doing. It's easy to think of this next generation as just self-absorbed in their telephones. Trying to understand what's going on in today's world without looking at Occupy is like trying to understand rock and roll without understanding Woodstock. Now, what was so efficient about Occupy is that they were able to leverage a couple of things. And they were able to leverage things that looked like toys before. So anybody recognize what's going on here? Exactly. So this is a toy from the year 100. There's a fire, there's a cauldron full of water. The water heats up and creates steam, and it rolls around and around and around and around. No one really cared about this until 2,000 years later, which gives us the steam engine. This is a video from the University of North Carolina from a couple of years ago. During finals, students were trying to let off some steam. Right, fun, no harm. This is the flash mob. Now, when the Occupy protesters started going to New York, they weren't allowed to have amplified sound. So they used something called the human microphone, which is I would say something, and then everyone else in the front row repeats it, and then everyone else repeats it, and then all of a sudden you have a amplified sound, essentially, from the people right there. And in order to organize, they use these flash mobs in order to tell people where to go. This is what it looks like. And at the end, they have a death clap. So everyone do this with me? Death clap? Come on. Yay. OK. So let's see what he's saying. We're all part of this movement. We amplify each other's voices so we can hear one another. There is no hierarchy. And rather than concentrating at what he's saying, can we concentrate at how he's saying it? Anybody find something interesting? He's speaking in tweets. And you say, well, nothing ever happened from Occupy, right? So let's fast forward a couple of years to Walmart. And all of a sudden, Walmart was starting to have some issues with their employees and whether they were paying them enough. Now, see if there's anything familiar in this protest against Walmart. They're operationalizing play.